welcome to the channel, and in this video we're going to take a tour around the garden. August is now a mere memory, and it's beginning of September, so this is our exotic garden September tour. Let's have a look around, but do you know what? We do feel as though we're going into a bit of a decline, so come on in. Now, technically, I hate people who use the word technically, we're still at the end of summer, but we really do have the feel of autumn around the area. We didn't have the high temperatures. When we did, we immediately got cold temperatures, and the plants are thinking, oh, summer's over, let's start dropping leaves, producing fruit. Let's start deteriorating, because I'm not a big fan of the autumn. I know Alan Titchmarsh, my favourite Alan Titchmarsh, he's a big fan of the autumn. He likes the butter yellow colours of the leaves before they drop, but for me it just feels like decay, decline. I don't particularly like the smell of it. I'm not looking forward to it, but even so, things don't look too bad. We didn't get the flowering this year, didn't get the growth this year. A lot of the plants that struggle coming through the winter because of our freezing waterlogged conditions are still looking a little bit sorry for themselves, and a wee bit worried that they aren't established enough to survive next year if we have another cold, freezing, waterlogged winter. But yeah, I do feel as though I'm a bit down in this one, because I just didn't get the effect or the look or the blooms or the flowering or the size of the garden that we did achieve last year. So I do apologise for that. Let me show you. The autumn spiders are starting to come out. Anyway, so do you know what? We've been looking after this citrus. This is the Hardy Lemon, the Mayer's variety, and although it's absolutely fine, I did get absolutely knackered a couple of years ago and had to cut it all the way back to the stalk. You see that there? There's a hard cut, and it was just this trunk. But since then, and this was that cut was 2 years ago, and since then it has grown. It looks fine, but we haven't had a single flower, and therefore absolutely no fruit on this tree whatsoever. But it used to fruit. We had it outside on a south-facing wall, and it would flower and it would fruit every year. But I thought this year, or a couple of years ago, we moved into this property. I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll put it in the ground, and the ground will be better protect the root system. So I expected it to perform really well, and you know what? It absolutely flopped it, and that's why I had to take it out and overwinter it in the greenhouse. So it's recovered. It's doing well, but again, disappointing. I think this is a video of my disappointment around the garden. Now, these box plants, they were doing really well, and I know we've got a history in this country of box tree caterpillar damaging all the leaves. I mean, look at the state of this. And I've been really good coming out and picking them all off, and then like, last week suddenly we had an absolute mass of them, picked off what I saw, and even so still got really bad damage. Now, I have done a video on how to manage your box tree caterpillar moth. Again, that news isn't good either. I'll put a link for it in the description, and I'll put a thumbnail just there, but you can't click on that thumbnail. YouTube won't allow me to put a link to it, so the link is in the bottom. This actually does look quite nice. I'm quite pleased how this has come on. This was a little planted arrangement that we're putting into the local town show, and see if we get any points for that. But I am pleased with that. I mean, that has done really well. Those marigolds, we grew those from seed. There's a Sago in there, we grew that from cuttings. We grew that from cuttings. Actually, that from cuttings. I think, apart from, there's a lovely trailing rosemary, which is here. I do like these. The first time I saw one of these was at RHS Wisley, and I've always loved these since. But yeah, everything apart from that, I've actually taken cuttings and grown from seed. This is unusual for me to put in that much work. And this cycad, the old Cycas revoluta, this is really far behind. Now, last year, this had all its new foliage out last month. So August, this had fully formed its new growth. We look inside here. Look at that. It's only just, is it going to be warm enough to power this year's new growth? I'm a little bit concerned about that. Look at that, the row, and you can see how much foliage it's dropped already. It really I don't know what's wrong with this thing, but I don't think everybody else's roans are dropping these leaves, and it dropped them really early last year too. I don't know whether it struggles because we've got a lot of plants in there competing with the moisture in the water, moisture in the ground, taking all the water out. But yeah, it sort of gets to this point, and it fruits. And once those fruits drop, it kind of gives up the ghost. But other than that, it doesn't seem to be anything wrong with it. There's no fungal bracts or any weirdness going on. But yeah, early. So look, it's just stinks of autumn, that plant. No, this is Brugmansia. This actually did a really, really good show. It's a heavy feeder. You need to keep feeding it loads of fertiliser. I like to use a Miracle Grow. I still don't get paid for advertising that. And we did struggle with, I think it was spider mite. We had spider mite on this. And although it is or has been a very difficult greenhouse pest over the years, there is a product out, at least at the moment, Bug Clear Ultra. And that's actually been doing a pretty good job on dealing with mites that we've had on here. I mean, I took some cuttings of these. The cuttings have done really well. And then the cuttings got the mite, which is in the greenhouse. So it's the last place you want your mite. But so far, that product has done a fantastic job. Moany. Oh, actually, okay, the dichondra actually, we put this in earlier this year. And although it's in a basket, so it's more difficult to water, that actually is looking rather nice. And that's a, it's that bromeliad fascicularia, which I can't remember what the first, no, it is fascicularia bicolor. Yeah, that's put on some size actually. I'm really pleased with that. No sign yet of those lovely red bracts as they come through, but yeah, I'm pleased how that's done. And also I'm really, really pleased. This is absolutely gorgeous, this Tetrapanax papyrifo. Just be aware they're a bit of a thug. Those leaves come up and then they flop over to cover everything else below. So I spent a lot of time this year removing these big leaves so in order to get some light into the plants below. And I'm gonna, looks like I'm gonna have to have take off a couple more. That behind, I'm really keen for that one to grow. That's the banana leaf musa. Sorry, banana leaf canna. That's Canna musifolia. And again, that is struggling with the light a wee bit. But to be honest with you, it's getting big. It's almost got to the top of the fence. So as you get some light soon. So compared to this year, this has actually done. No, compared to last year, it's actually done really, really well. Bulked up quite nicely, and if you can see that, you know, it just makes it a little bit more tropical when you've got a Swiss cheese plant here, the old Monstera deliciosa. It's in the shade. I know some people say it can take a light frost. I've tried this, and they don't seem to do it for me unless it's something that they cope with better once they're established. But that'll have to come in the winter. It really won't cope being left outside, even though it's protected by the fence, the tree, blah 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 blah. Now this is my favourite Fatsia. This is Fatsia spider's web. You've got this wonderful variegation, like silver variegation, white variegation, and this is in the shade. So to get this kind of colour effect on these nice big leaves does really, really well. And this year it's done very, very well. It does struggle being planted under a tree like this willow, because the willow will take out a lot of the moisture from the soil, so this will struggle. But if you keep this watered as I have done this year, it will put out multiple groups of new growth, and we've got more new leaf coming out now. So I'm really pleased with this. It really is one of my favourite plants, and I thoroughly recommend it. This is the black bamboo, Hibiscus nigra. It doesn't have this evasive root system like you do get with the golden bamboo, and I don't really water this. I don't really feed this, again, to keep it quite compact. And even so, it's putting out. It's been in a couple of years now. First year it didn't do. It struggled a wee bit. It was fine, but it didn't really take very well. But this year it's really put out some decent stems. But if you look down here, it's really still quite contained in the ground. So it's a great choice if you want a bamboo for your garden, because if you keep them in pots, they really struggle getting massive leaf dropping. It's an absolute mess. They look shocking. Don't do it. Yeah, Trachycarpus fortunei, that is doing really lovely. And in the shade here we've got a Canna Cleopatra, and just to show you that although people say cannas do best in full sun, you know, might not do too bad in the shade. This is in shade most of the time, and even so, flowering its little socks off. This is actually, I think, the third flower spike, because you want to deadhead them in order to promote more flowers, and hopefully we'll get some more. There you go, we had one here, got that one going there. Got a problem with it, it has got dahlia virus. We took out a big stem earlier. I don't really want to throw away the whole plant because I love it and it's quite difficult to get hold of, so we're keeping it for now. There's no sort of, I'm not showing any signs of a virus on here, but I wouldn't trust it if I were you. And ooh, look at that big boy there, man. That's the size of that. That's like 5 inches across. That's not bad, is it? The bottle brush we planted earlier in the year, you know, so this is its first year in the ground. That even flowered in the spring, not huge amounts, but I wasn't expecting any flower whatsoever. Another lovely canna here. This is part of the Tropicana group, and we moved that in the spring, which wasn't the best thing to do with it. I lifted it, moved it, but it has taken. It's putting out a load of new growth, and this has finally started to wake up. It hasn't really been the weather for it, but even so, it's putting some size. Got that lovely sort of silvery blue kind of powder coating on those on these leaves, and I'm hoping the next couple of years this will be an absolutely amazing specimen plant. And I planted it here specifically so I could see that from the kitchen over the winter. Absolutely wonderful. And this is a Abyssinian banana, which we still got in the pot, because the one we planted in the ground last year, that actually didn't survive the winter, even though we put a ton of winter protection on it. Probably just got too cold. So this one's in a pot, and then it will come into a frost-free position over the winter this year, and then I'll probably think about planting it probably where it is for next spring. Yeah, assuming this one survives. Now we've got a ginger lily here that's been in the ground for about 3 years now, still not doing anything. A ginger lily that went in the ground last year, it's bulked up, but still no flowers on that. And we bought a bit of a Beru ginger lily. This one is Devon Cream. We didn't put it in the ground, we put it in a pot, overwintered it in the pot, and then kept it in the greenhouse so it gets plenty of heat. So this was planted just this spring, and even so, look at that. It's got a flipping bloom on it, so I'm really, really pleased with that. But again, I'm going to overwinter that in the greenhouse, bring it back out in the spring, and I'll probably plant that in the ground for next year, because I can't put too much in the greenhouse. It's not big enough really. Need a bigger one. Oh, that's not saving up. Oh, the Fuchsia Boliviana has been a disappointment because it got broad mite. It started off well. Down there the leaves absolutely fine, and further right you start seeing these telltale signs of what I believe to be broad mite. Again, we sprayed that with the Bug Clear Ultra 2 and the new. Oh, do you know, it's just so hard. It doesn't seem to be huge amounts of damage on this new growth, but certainly no flowers. Flowered last year, this year no flowers at all. Disappointing, because it's a beautiful, beautiful plant when that's in flower. And we started training this. This was one of the few plants actually we left in the garden when we moved in. So this is was a massive camellia, and it was growing. The whole place was overgrown. So that was growing over the fence into the field. This apple tree had come all the way down, so it is heavily shaded. So we crown lifted the apple tree a wee bit. We cut that down to its trunk here, and this new growth, we're actually going to train it along the fence. Just started training it, so we're going to train it as like an espalier to go across the fence. So hopefully come the spring this will look amazing, but it'll be a couple of years before this really does its thing. Now this is the sort of thing that is completely out of fashion. It's a typical spider plant, and you don't even see it in garden centres anymore. It tends to like very, very popular in the 80s and the 90s, and then kind of forgotten about. I know down in around Cornwall, Devon, where it's a lot milder than it is up here. They'll even plant these outside as bedding plants. But look what I've done with this. I've put it in a hanging basket, and I just turn the camera around and you can see it properly. Look at that, it's absolutely wonderful. I mean, it's just an absolute beast of a plant, beautiful. I know the actual parent plant isn't particularly big, it's all down here with the foliage, but the thing is, because you've got all this massive foliage and what's now only a relatively small pot, this has to be watered, especially when it's sunny or windy, every single day over the summer. And if it's windy, you know, like these warm winds, it'll dry it even quicker, because it's just like a massive flagon of wind blowing around and losing moisture. So you keep it well watered, and look at it. Even the babies have babies and it's in flower. What a stunning thing. And keeping to the theme of hanging plants, this is the Bolivian forest cactus. Now, I bought this as like 2 cuttings off of eBay 2 years ago, and it's really starting to do its thing. I'm really impressed with this. Absolutely beautiful. It flowered this year. I don't know if it's still got fruit on it. Yeah, it's still got fruit on it. Yeah, so it's really happy. But again, keep this outside over the summer. It doesn't need as much watering as the spider plant, but it will need to be brought in over the winter, as does the spider plant, because they're not hard enough to stay outside. And here, this is what last year was an amazing jungle effect border with blooms everywhere, and the flowering really hasn't happened this year, apart from one thing. Look at that. Got actual bananas in my banana tree, and they will fruit, but they do need to be about 4 or 5 years old before they're established enough to actually do that. But once they do, what a weird, freaky looking thing. There you go. Actual bananas in England growing on a banana tree. Now, about this time last year, we went to Chelsea Physic Garden, and while we were there, we saw 2 absolutely stunning Niphophilus. One was Ruperi, and the other one was Northii, named after Marianne North, a fantastic artist and painter who's got her collection at Kew Gardens at the moment, or probably forever at Kew Gardens. So we purchased some. You can't buy these plants at Chelsea, but you can get these things online. And we planted them up. So we planted up last year, and I was hoping this year get some of these amazing blooms, because these are big flower heads. Let's take a look. So that's Ruperi, and there is nothing on it. And this is the Northii, and although it's put on a lot of foliage, I mean, it is lovely foliage. It's sort of steely, silvery, almost got like a powdery bloom on it. It's got big, got a lovely apple, probably a bit hungry. But again, no blooms. Now, probably because it's still settling in, only went in last year. So I'm hoping next year you're going to get some amazing flowers, because both of these are absolutely fantastic. I thoroughly recommend them, but not when they're doing this. It's so lazy. But it could just be that our summer temperatures have been pitiful this year. We've only had a few days where temperatures went up to about 26, 27, whereas in previous years we've had a couple of really long hot summers, and the plants we have in the garden, because they're exotic, because they come from warmer climates, they just don't get going unless temperatures go up a wee bit. You know, we had a long period of drought again over the summer, but it all got watered. But without the heat, without the light to sort of power these plants, you're just not going to get the effect that you expect. And this is why this year it's all been a bit disappointing. And I know it's not just me. I know a lot of the other YouTuber gardeners of exotic plants have had the same issues. They really haven't performed. So it's not going to perform now. September, it's not particularly warm today. So that is kind of it for anything impressive. Like I say, still got dahlias that haven't flowered. They're in bud but not flowered. And that's it. Not really the video I was hoping to make. I was hoping to show you loads of fantastic stuff. You know, usually there's a lot of blooms. Although, I'll tell you what, we did plant this year the Hibiscus muchachus. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that word. It's a bit of a struggle. And we bought 6 plug plants, planted them up, lost 1. They're all in the garden, and we've got some wonderful blooms on them. The trouble is, they've been absolutely wrecked because we've had 2 days of rain, so there's nothing to show you at the moment. But luckily, I did take a couple of images of some of the blooms that I put up here. They're not as big as I was hoping for, but like I say, these were just plug plants in the spring, so they're supposed to be hardy. We'll overwinter them this year. We'll put some dry mulch on it, because I do want these to come through, because I saw these at Wisley Exotic Garden about 3 years ago, and they looked absolutely magnificent. So that's why we bought them. So they're here, they grew, they just struggled to get going, but we got them all going, apart from the one that was knackered when it come through the post, because it got beaten up a bit, and all the roots were everywhere. But yeah, so out of the 6, we've got 5, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 flowering now. We've still got 1 in bud waiting to flower. So I'm actually quite pleased. So I tell you what, I will recommend that as well, because you have a good year, I think you're going to get some stunning plants, and if they prove to be as hard as they say they are, I think you're going to be seeing a lot more of these. Anyway, I think that's all I've got to say. But if you want to depress me with your garden problems of what's gone wrong and what hasn't happened, then you're more than welcome to do so. Misery loves the company. Just put that in the comments. We generally would love to hear from you. Anyway, thank you for watching, and before I go, just one last message from me from the past. Pay attention, because it's all about supporting this channel, and you can do it for absolutely free. Right, now, just before you go, if you want to see more content, more behind the scenes stuff, and images that I've taken of some weird freaky plants over the years, then you're in luck, because we've created an Instagram page. So you can find the link in our description. You can find the link on our main page, and if I'm clever enough, I might be able to get a link somewhere up there. Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you want to see more YouTube stuff, then check out this video here. That's quite a good one. And if it doesn't float your boat, then another one right there. And enjoy these while I've still got the strength, imagination and aptitude to make them. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.